Hey people, welcome back to the channel Football Analytics. Today I'm going to be giving out tips for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. The Friday's tips are going to be on the blog, so if anyone is interested, head over there. As usual, for the newcomers, I suggest to bet on goals instead of outcomes of games, and also if you can, try to bet on doubles or singles instead of the huge accumulators. Now, let's start off in the Premier League, a game between Manchester City and Chelsea. So City is the favorite here at 131. Chelsea's a bit disrespected. But it's about right. Man City has caught fire at the right time. That's already 11 wins in a row. De Bruyne is back, Haaland is back, and they already qualified to the next round of Champions League. They had a solid victory against Copenhagen. While Chelsea finally put up two solid performances back-to-back, both away victories, 1-3, first against Aston Villa in the Cup and then against Crystal Palace, which came right in the end. As for the tip here, there's one stat that I really like is that Chelsea hasn't scored against Man City, especially when they play in Manchester, in 4 consecutive games. The last time, though, they faced off each other, it was one of the more entertaining games of the year, finished 4-4. So I do believe Chelsea can score here. I know it's going to be an unpopular pick. The odds are currently at 163. Now, for the second tip, we got a game between Nottingham and West Ham. In the table, Nottingham is currently only 2 points away from the relegation zone. It's a shame because when Nuno Espirito Santo took over, they won the huge games against Newcastle and Man United, and afterwards the expectations were high. But since then, they went 4 games without a victory. While West Ham got embarrassed last weekend by Declan Rice and Arsenal 0-6, and they conceded 9 goals in 2 consecutive games because 3 came against Man United. And overall, in the last 7 games, they have 0 victories. I feel like this could be a bounce back game for them. We won't risk it here though. I like the West Ham over 1 goal option. The odds are pretty decent, 166. So for the newcomers, over 1 means refund. And if West Ham scores 2, you win those odds. You'll only lose it if West Ham don't score at all. You can also put the over 1 goal bet in an accumulator and get a website that has this bet. Now for the third tip, we're heading to LaLiga, a game between Osasuna and Cadiz. Osasuna finally won a game last weekend away. It was their first one in 9 games, but they kind of screwed us over because we had them BTTS against Sociedad, and they didn't let Sociedad score. And how many games is that now for Sociedad? Over 5 without scoring, but we'll get back to them as well. As for Cadiz, they're the worst scoring team in the league by far. They haven't scored also in 4 consecutive games, and that's a stat I really like. And actually Osasuna got embarrassed last time they played Celta, which was a home game. So Osasuna, I think they're going to be scoring in this one. But again, an unpopular pick. I also think that Cadiz snaps his streak of not scoring in 4 straight. So I'm going with BTTS here. It's not a given. Usually when a team doesn't score in 4 games, it's not a given they're going to score in the 5th one. We had that with Sociedad. We had that with Napoli. So guys, see for yourself, but I'm liking Osasuna and Cadiz both to score in this game. Now for the 4th tip, Wolfsburg against Dortmund in the Bundesliga. So Wolfsburg is currently in the 12th place. They only got 23 points in 21 games. That's only 2 more than Union Berlin, which they lost to the last game. They still have some gap between them and Koln, which is the relegation zone. But their last 5 games have been pretty bad. 4 draws and that loss against Union. As for Dortmund, they came in on fire to start the new year. I mean, they were in crisis mode to finish off the 2023. But since then, in the last 5 games, they got 4 wins and 1 draw. They're playing really solid defensively. As for the tip, I'm rolling with Wolfsburg here over 1 goal. They beat Dortmund last year at home. And as I said, I think Dortmund have been playing way too solid defensively. I think they're going to concede at least 1 against Wolfsburg. Now for the last tip, still in the Bundesliga, a game between Mainz and Augsburg. So Mainz is the worst team along with Darmstadt in the league. It's also a very annoying team to bet against. They play a lot of under games, especially at home. They haven't scored over 1 goal in 11 consecutive games. That's insane for Bundesliga. As for Augsburg, just like Wolfsburg, they're at 23 points. They had a decent result last weekend against Leipzig, 2-2 at home. As for the tip, head-to-head matches, that's the stat that I like here. In the last 5 years, they all went BTTS and also over 2.5. I hope that streak continues because my tip here is that Mainz and Augsburg will both be scoring. The odds are pretty high for Bundesliga. It's at 178. So let's start with the Sunday's tips. A game between Brest and Marseille. We haven't been to the French league in a while. So Brest is currently in the 4th spot. That's actually where Marseille wants to be. The distance between those two teams is currently 7 points. So Brest actually hasn't won in 4 consecutive games, but at home they haven't conceded in 4 straight. While Marseille still hasn't won a game in the last 5. We're really unlucky with the Mets pick on the blog. We had Marseille over 1.5. Marseille played most of the game with 10 men, and they also had an XG of over 2. But yeah, you can't really predict a red card. That's a game changer. So for the tip here, I'm leaning towards Marseille again. They're the more desperate team, so we'll play it more safe here. Marseille over 1 goal. Now let's head to the Serie A night game between Monza and Milan. At the table, Monza is currently mid-table, 30 points in 24 games, while Milan caught up to Juve. They're only 1 point behind now. Juve can score a goal. I don't know what's going on there. It's now 3 consecutive games that Monza doesn't concede, while Milan does, especially away. They played a lot of games that they came back against Udinese, against Frosinone, where they were losing the game. So I like for both teams to actually concede in this game. I believe that Milan is going to be scoring and end in Monza's streak, and I like Monza to score. So the odds here at 181, we're going with BTTS. We stay in the Serie A game between Empoli and Fiorentina. I'm really surprised by Empoli, by the way. They're now currently out of the relegation zone by 2 points, because in the last 4 games they have 2 wins and 2 draws. Really impressive. As for Fiorentina, they just lost a huge one to Bologna. They should have scored in that game, but they lost some massive points for the European spots. And now it's been 4 consecutive losses for them away. But I do believe they're going to be scoring in this game against Empoli. I think Empoli is actually going to be losing this game. So Fiorentina over 1, that's the safe pick, but you can also consider Fiorentina over 1.5. Currently the over 1 option is at 150. Now for the last tip, we'll end it in the Bundesliga, a game between Freiburg and Frankfurt. Huge game for the Conference League spot. Both of those teams are right next to each other, 4 points away. Freiburg is coming off 3 straight losses in the Bundesliga, while Frankfurt only managed to get 1 point in 2 games against Bochum and Köln. That's terrible. And overall, Frankfurt is really solid at home, and I like them to score over 1 here. The odds are currently at 153, so we're going with Freiburg over 1 against Frankfurt. By the way, there's also a bonus tip, which I'm not going to be taking. It's a game between Mallorca and Sociedad, so you already know why I'm not taking it, because I have Sociedad blacklisted. It's now been, how many? 5 consecutive games without a goal. They also lost to PSG 2-0. But I believe that they're going to be scoring in this game. For the ones that want to take the risk, Sociedad is currently given at 153 for just a goal. So not over 1, over 0.5 goals. For the brave ones, I say you go with it. Sociedad to score against Mallorca. Guys, so this is it for me. We got 9 tips in total. So feel free to take 1 or 2, not more. If you support the info that I provide, hit the thumbs up. And I'm going to be back on Monday on the blog for the usual daily tips. So good luck this weekend. Bear responsibly, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.